Anastasia Bilous is here today. Welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you here. You are my longtime friend, but also an inspiration to me. And I'm not just saying that. So thank you for being here. I can't wait to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Emma, for an invitation. And it's a pleasure to be your first guest today.
This is our Fashion Founders series, and Anastasia is both a fashion editor at Elle Ukraine. I'm going to let her tell us all about that. But she's also the founder of a fashion showroom based in Lisbon called AJ13. First, I want to ask you about your career as, I guess, an editor and a journalist first. So, what did you study and how did you get your job at Elle Ukraine?
Yeah, sure. With the pleasure. Actually, I'm working in Elle already for 8 years, and it's quite
Wow.
stable long-term job. Actually, my first big job, which started directly after my bachelor at university. So back to the question regarding education, studied journalism in Kiev, in my hometown. I had a bachelor, then a master. My idea was first, I did not think about fashion journalism. I was thinking more about journalism in the classic way, and it was even the department of television. So my idea was more to go into that direction, maybe to be a TV presenter or to be behind the scenes. That we don't know. But yeah, I studied that. And I think then, like second, third year of my study, I started to explore where I can have a side job, to try myself, to have internships. And there were some TV projects as well on the side from university or in summer, like summer internships. But then I arrived at Ukrainian Fashion Week. Actually, it's a funny story because the first ever time I was at Ukrainian Fashion Week when I was 9 years old. It was a very unique experience. Just it happened because the mom of my friend was working in the industry and she got tickets and we went there. And I, as a child, a little girl who saw all these models in the dresses, I was so impressed. And since then, it was like something very mysterious, very beautiful. You'll think where you want to go in. And yeah, that's my first impression of fashion, which I saw in my eyes when I was 9. And then
Yeah, wow.
yeah, when I was a student at university, I started to think about the Ukrainian Fashion Week because some of my group mates, they were practicing also in the press team of Ukrainian Fashion Week, and I was thinking like, okay, kind of connected to journalism, you write press releases and you can have an access to the fashion shows. So yeah, that's, I think I remember that a few times I somehow got then tickets and access to go there, and then I started to my trials to get a job somewhere in this field. I sent thousands of requests, received nothing for sure because I didn't
Oh,
have any experience. And it's fine to receive no at the beginning.
yeah.
And then, yeah, I think it was the second year. And then after my, like, in parallel with the writing and preparing my bachelor, I got a job in Elle. It was funny story actually because in this case I did not send the CV to them. Before I had an interview with the for my university work. I had an interview with the editor in chief of Cosmopolitan Ukraine.
Hmm.
And then in a few months, she was looking for a fashion editor for her website in Cosmopolitan. And she remembered me somehow and she invited me to the job interview. She did not take me because someone else had better experience than me. But as we were all together, and actually still it is like that. So Cosmopolitan, Harper's Bazaar, and Elle, it's one big holding in Ukraine. We have
Okay.
all the licenses, our bosses, we have all the licenses. So it was like one big office, one big team, everyone know each other. And then when Elle were looking for editorial assistant, they asked her if she had someone maybe in mind from her job interviews who she did not take, and she recommended me. That's how I got a job.
That's so cool. It came to you in a way, but you
Yeah,
did a lot of hustling before
yeah,
that, it
yeah.
sounds like. Yeah. It's so nice you had a big team, like all those publications you mentioned that they're all in the same office. It's a great way to network, and you probably have quite a big network in Ukraine of people, photographers, stylists,
Yeah.
other journalists, maybe designers as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
actually, I'm sure you do, which we'll get to in a little bit about the showroom. Yeah, would you say that it was difficult to break in? I mean, you've just told me about the journey, but were there times where you were like, oh, this is very difficult? Ukraine and Kiev, it isn't such a small place. I think there are a lot of people probably competing for jobs like the one you got. So Yeah, was it difficult?
I would say here you mentioned already networking is the key. Really,
Mm.
because in this case, and I think it works everywhere like that, it's not like I still got the job by myself, but in this case, I had some steps before and then it found me. Before, as I mentioned, I had many, like 1 year at least, I remember I'm sending the CVs to Elle, to Vogue, to different magazines, online platforms, Ukrainian Fashion Week. We had on that times also another local Kiev Fashion Week. I got internship there for 2 weeks, but it was difficult to combine with my study because they needed a full time, and it was like so many things, unpaid for sure, and you're ready to be
Yeah.
unpaid at the beginning of your path. So it's also totally fine. Which is,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if it's internship and you get experience, it is fine. You should be ready for that. Also, I had internship or another online magazine or a few of them. So yeah, you make steps, but yes, you should be ready to receive no, because I mean, your CV when you're studying looks like, okay, I'm super talented, I can do everything, but I don't have any experience.
Yeah.
Someone who is hiring you wants someone who has experience already, and that's always the thing, how to find a job without experience. But to get this experience,
Yeah.
and to get this experience, you try, I don't know, to be an assistant, to go to maybe for internship, for practice, to ask people who are working in the industry, whenever, whatever industry it is, I think. So yeah, and yeah, that's how you meet people, that's how you become to be in the context of the industry, and I think that's the key, how to start your journey. So for me it worked as well. In my case it was organic, because when I on this period of time when I sent CV, once I was for sure frustrated and decided, okay, probably fashion is not for me, I will go to television. I mean, I started like that. So, I mean, no one replies. So it is like that. Probably not a destiny. Well,
Yeah.
in 2 years, it found me in another way. So you should be patient. You should be patient at the beginning.
Yeah. I think you're so right. People want experience, but then it's like, when am I supposed to have got this? I was busy doing my studies or I was at high school.
Yeah.
So I have like some thoughts on that because I posted a TikTok on my very new embarrassing TikTok. And I think the best advice I would have given myself is to start early as a student. Just start whatever you want to do. Just try it out. And if it changes, you can still say, I have experience doing this as a student, or even in high school. I knew that I loved fashion, but I didn't really know what to do. I would have loved to have gone and done something at Fashion Week when there was less pressure to be
Yeah.
paying bills
Yeah.
and be having the stresses of real life. So, but then at the same time, I don't know about you, you're a bit younger than I am, but I only found my fashion career quite late, kind of when I was 29. I'm 33 now. So I'd also say that it isn't ever too late. And I have drawn on my experience that I've got in the past to form my fashion career now. I think you can start early, but it's not too late to start late. And I think we're both entrepreneurs now, which
Yeah.
I guess is
It's
kind of
super true.
new to both of us. But okay, before I move on to that, I would say, do you have any like maybe 3 steps or even 2 steps of advice that you would give people starting out or even people later in their lives? What do you think they should do to break into the fashion industry? It can be in any way. I know fashion technology is more my thing,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think maybe I guess for the more traditional fashion industry, what tips do you have?
First of all, I think that you can start to break in kind of by yourself at the start, because you can explore, you can learn by yourself. I don't know in how to say it in English. In Ukrainian, we have such a word which means like you watch a lot, like you, for example, you explore references, you explore fashion magazines, the works of fashion stylists, the famous photographers, and you
Mm,
kind of, if you surround yourself with all this content, you kind of have an eye. So like to have this eye for fashion, to understand what is it about. A fashion magazine, to, if you want to work in fashion magazine, to read them, to buy them, to watch, to read
mm,
the articles, to read long reads, to understand maybe the style, how this editor is writing or that editor is writing, difference in between articles, in between styles of journalism, to understand, okay, this stylist is creating this kind of art and this photographer is working in this category of photography. So like to understand the difference by yourself, just to explore as much as you can, and to surround yourself with the high quality content, because especially today in our world, when we are all surrounded by TikTok, but silly videos, by memes, but a lot of information news, it's so crazy because our brains will explode soon, I guess.
It's
With
true.
this, and sometimes you just want to close everything, go to the nature and not see this digital screen anymore.
Yeah.
I think especially now it's important to still remember about nice quality movies from the past, or nice, like to go to the galleries, to the museums, to explore the artists. Because like if you want to work then in fashion, for example, as a stylist, photographers, all these references from your mind, it's not like you go to the Pinterest. It should be on your background already. You should understand. And sometimes like if you're really into this, you see just an editorial, but you understand that was a reference from that or this movie or the actress, or from
Yeah.
like some personality, because you see the reference without seeing the reference. That's the key. So
Yeah.
first step I would say is just to learn to explore fashion by yourself, and you don't need to get a job directly for this. uh, and like to invest into your own education. Like, I mean, it's a lot of online courses right now. Some of them are even for free. I remember, for example, that when it was COVID, I was just starting as a stylist, because I will tell later, but in general, I started as an assistant, a styling assistant, and I wanted to start by my own, but I was thinking that I'm not experienced yet enough. And I was just looking for some online courses because it was COVID. We were all sitting at home. And
Yeah.
at that times, for example, Business of Fashion, amazing platform which you can buy subscription and just read amazing articles from amazing authors about fashion, about analytics, about statistics, luxury sales, and to go really deep into the processes of industry. At that time, for example, Business of Fashion had nice platform with the online courses from super nice teachers, and I was taking the image making course from Lucinda Chamber, and it was amazing. So, and it really gave me a lot of her tips, her advices. It was some like you did it all at home, but still she gave some tasks. For example, if you want to be a personal stylist for a celebrity, pick a celebrity and create a style for her, like for your own. And it was
Yeah.
so just like to practice yourself and to improve yourself. That's the first point. Second step, I would say it's really to try to get into industry by connections. And like, yes, for sure, to send the CV. If you have something to send, it's nice. For example, if you want to be a stylist or a photographer and you already try to do something, also you don't have publications or anything, to create portfolio. Maybe to find a friend, like you're a stylist, your friend, maybe you know someone who is photographer or wants to become. Create a shooting together, because just find a friend
Yeah.
who can be a model, buy clothes in Zara, and just try to create. Just try
Yes.
to be inspired and to create something. Really try create professional shooting with the references, with the concept, with the idea from A to B. Yeah, such a portfolio, it can be already a part of your portfolio. Okay, I have already one shooting, so that can be actually step 2. And step 3, yes, to send this portfolio then to the magazines, to the place wherever you want to work. But also, if it does not work, now it's very easy to access everyone in this world with social media. Before it wasn't like that. Before you needed find an address in some address book and go in Paris, I don't know, in the showroom or something, to find the door to stay there. Now it's everything easy. You have DM messages on Instagram and you can reach out to everyone. Yes, sure, not everyone will reply, but sometimes even big celebrities or big brands can reply or send your message to the responsible one. So try to find people who are working, for example, in the magazine, in the brand where you want to work, and just try to connect them in person. Write
Yeah.
a nice letter, not copy paste for sure. It should be personalized. Why you want to work exactly in this brand or exactly with this stylist. And the first thing is to try to become an assistant. I think it's the best ever think to learn something. Like, yes, you learn the books, you learn the education, you learn, but the best is that during the process you see how it works. And even if you're staying there during the shooting and the stylist is doing everything, you watch, you observe what is
Yeah.
happening, who is responsible for what, how photographer is making a shot, what is the stylist is doing, how to iron the clothes. You see
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, that's
I haven't actually ever heard anybody say go back to the basics and the traditional. I guess because I'm sort of on the other end, I'm on the very digital side, like fashion technology focused, it still applies. I'm not saying you have to go and study design if you do want to be, I don't know, a digital artist.
Sure.
But you need a little bit of grounding. I 100% agree with that to understand certain things. And then the accessibility. I remember, like, I think it must have been in 2006 or something like that. I remember crying because I was like, I'm never going to meet any of my heroes. I grew up watching fashion TV. I don't know if you ever saw that. And I was obsessed with the designers, the models. And I remember back then, I was like, I'm just never going to get there. And today, you can find everybody online. You can find them on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you can actually reach them. I've reached out to some really big names and had them reply, like you said. So we are definitely living in a cool time. Yes, there's a lot of copy paste from ChatGPT as well. And you as well, you're an editor. I can just see it straight away. And I'm like, people, just edit. You can get ideas from there. Like, let's say you want to start a letter to one of your heroes, a stylist, whatever. You can go to ChatGPT and get started, especially those whose first language maybe isn't English and they really struggle and that's totally fine. But just change it a little bit. Make it about you and make it about them. Yeah, so amazing advice. Thank you. Can we talk about AJ13 showroom, please? Can you tell me what led you to start the showroom? So let me tell people who are going to listen to this. We met in Lisbon at Lisbon Fashion Week, and I think Lisbon has such a wonderful fashion scene. Portugal has craftsmanship that's world renowned, top quality, and I think Lisbon Fashion Week is a world-class fashion week, even though it's a smaller fashion week. I know we love it. We have our little Lisbon team of fashion friends. So that's where we met. And I think AJ13 showroom maybe was born during this time that you've been living in Lisbon. You can also tell us a bit about your story, about why you came to Lisbon. This is fashion related, but it's also really about you and your life. So tell me all about it. That's a very long question. Just tell me. We'll start with what led you to create it and how's it going? We'll start there.
Yeah. So the first idea I had actually I wanted to present Ukrainian designers on Lisbon Fashion Week. That's what you mentioned because I based now here for already it will be 3 years. Time is fleeting, and I was just having this idea because in general, I mean, for the designers, what is Ukrainian Fashion Week is doing for all these years of the war is just we could not make the Ukrainian Fashion Week in Kiev. Now it's happening again.
Okay.
Second season in a row. Yeah, we started, the team of Ukrainian Fashion Week started last September, and now they are able to do it. But before it was for sure a break. And what the team was doing, they were trying to bring Ukrainian fashion into different European countries, and not only European, just to international fashion weeks, show our fashion, and for sure to speak about the war, because every single moment of the presence of Ukrainian team, Ukrainian brand in European international community is the chance to speak, hey, we still have the war ongoing. And for sure it's also big support because like if the brand is showing good collection in Paris, then the buyers will buy it, the designer can pay salaries, production, and whatever, also support our economic, which is very important. So every single action is very important. So for me, the first idea came actually also to just support our designers and to bring Ukrainian fashion into Lisbon Fashion Week. And that was amazing collaboration because Lisbon Fashion Week was very open and friendly to us. They were making a kind of official gesture of support for us. So it was official collaboration in between Lisbon Fashion Week and Ukrainian Fashion Week. Was amazing, and we all were so grateful. We presented 3 brands during one common show, and the feedback was really great. Some of influencers even appeared in the dresses and items created by Ukrainian brands, local celebrities, I mean Portuguese, and they loved it. So yeah, we had a lot of people as guests, and the feedback was amazing. So yeah, kind of that was the starting point. But how we made the second step, we created this space with my partner Jan, and actually I'm not sure I would be able to start my business by my own because I have no idea about business. That's the point.
Me too.
Yeah, I worked in fashion. I did some projects, but I never did something by my own. And it started also a little bit from my thing. I started to learn a bit of retail, about retail. I also took some online course from London University just to get into this because I thought maybe it could be then in the future kind of second step in my career or something like that, retail. And then my partner had this idea, so maybe like if you already learned retail, maybe to open retail store. And like first it was somewhere in the air, discussions, and then after this fashion week, I would say it was so clear, okay, Ukrainian brands in Lisbon. Like why didn't I have this
Right.
idea before? Because this retail thing we discussed already for some time. But yeah, after this fashion show, we were like, okay, that's just laying down in front of you and like just take it. So yeah, that's how this idea was created. Yeah, for sure, we have a big community of Ukrainians in Lisbon, and it's growing so fast because right now
Mm,
I would say like during last year, so many businesses also opened by Ukrainians, like in different categories, like massage places, coffee shops,
cool.
bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many beauty spots and whatever. So yeah, we have a lot of Ukrainians who are for sure missing Ukrainian brands. And yeah, I was thinking that it makes sense to bring Ukrainian fashion to Lisbon. So yeah, that's how we started. And last October, we actually opened.
That's so inspiring. I've been watching your journey, and when you did this, I was like, that makes so much sense. You're in fashion, but it's sort of the next step beyond what you did for the Ukrainian
Yeah.
designers as part of Lisbon Fashion Week. It's now kind of a permanent place for them to show. It's wonderful. And how do you choose the brands? Do you go out to them, or do you wait for them to come to you?
Actually, yeah, that's all our and my personal selection.
Mm,
Like it's very hard to choose. We have so many of Ukrainian brands, and I would
yeah.
say that we had like generation of older, more experienced designers who started like 10, 15 years ago, and it's like the main stage of Ukrainian fashion. And they are all like a lot of them already famous abroad. They sell on Farfetch, on different retail platforms, present at
Mm,
New York Fashion Week, at Paris Fashion Week. So for sure, I wanted to bring some big names to show it, to introduce Ukrainian fashion. But also we needed to think about that we are in Lisbon and we are working as B2C showroom, B2C concept. So we need to sell the items to the client and it should be
mm,
relevant in Lisbon, according to the weather, according to the style of the city, to the vibe of the city, to everything.
right.
So yeah, like for example, some brands who I really love, but they are more for Paris, I cannot bring here. So that was all kind of analyzing and discussing in between us. And yes, we started with 11 brands. That was our selection. I think my personal taste is included for sure,
Yeah,
because every item we have in the store, I would personally love to wear myself.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
but according to all the factors which need to be thinking about. Yeah. So yeah,
Right.
it's 11 brands. We have three categories. We started with the clothes, with the bags, and with accessories. That's three
Mm-hmm.
categories. And now we are already in the second season, so we are adding more summer selection. We are analyzing from our clients what are we doing, and yeah, now we have also ceramics, for example. We added this
Cool.
season, and we are analyzing. I'm talking to the clients myself, analyzing what they prefer to buy in Lisbon. So yeah, that's
Amazing. How do you balance that with your job at Elle Ukraine? Do you just have a crazy schedule like every day? You wake up, jump out of bed, and do everything? Or, yeah, how do you balance everything?
actually, it's a little bit easier because I'm not working for digital magazine. I'm working only for print issues. And as
Okay.
the war started, we started to do it once per season. But we also have Elle Decoration, where I'm also working as an editor. So we have,
Okay.
I would say, 8 issues per year. And it allows me to do it, first of all, to do it remote, and second of all, to do it not every day. It's not like I have
Okay.
my amount of articles for the issue. We have a meeting, discuss the topics, and then I'm working on my own. I mean, I can do it at night, in the morning, in the evening. I'm flexible with that,
Perfect.
just should meet the deadlines.
Yes, of course. It sounds like you've got a great balance between your own AJ13 showroom
Yeah.
and your L. Do you feel that the incline is quite steep because what you've done, you've really brought things sort of from your mind into a physical space. For me, it's a bit different. I brought things into my mind into a digital space,
Yes.
which is, like we're saying, it's more difficult in some ways, but it's a lot easier. And I actually also was talking about this the other day to someone. The barrier of entry is quite low for a digital, but it also feels like the space is very saturated. But I do think it's more difficult what you have done to bring it into a physical space.
The hardest part, I would say, was to start doing this, because like you have this idea, but you never did it before. And I don't know, we Googled, we tried to find a way how to start, how to communicate with the designers and everything. But yeah, just the first step is probably the hardest. Then you are preparing and yeah, then you kind of already started the processes and then just go via the processes. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's so true. The first step is so hard. It's like, can we even do this? I can't do this. I agree. I think doing the first step is what you need. You've given some amazing advice for people starting out, especially in the fashion publication world, which is, I think, what a lot of people want. Being an entrepreneur, I wonder, I'm keen to see as my journey goes on and I speak to more people. I don't know how many people actually want to do their own businesses because it's quite risky, as you know, we know. You sort of have to have some kind of stability. But yeah, we'll see how both of our journey goes.
Yes.
Yeah, please come back anytime.
Amazing. Thank you, Emma. And I wish your project also the big and amazing journey.
Thank you so much.